go. Good morning. We have an email from a guy from South Africa, Yossi Orkin. And as I'm walking in, I realized something very interesting. He says like this: Hi, Eli Stefansky. It's always been a goal of mine to do the Daf Yomi. However, currently I do not have the time to do the full learning of the Daf, as well as doing sufficient chazara, of which to me is so important, as you could see in a second. At the beginning of this Daf Yomi cycle, I was introduced to the 8-minute Daf, and B'li Ayin Hara, since then, I've kept up with the 8-minute Daf. The way I learn and do chazara on the 8-minute Daf is generally as follows. Most mornings, I go for a 45-minute jog, and during this time, I listen to the 8-minute Daf 3 times, and do chazara in previous Daf. At home, I then listen to it again, and write summary notes. I then rewrite the summary notes neatly. I then record my own 4-minute summary. This guy's like a competition because pretty soon he's coming out with the 4-minute Daf. I then listen to my 4-minute summary on double speed, 2 minutes, 4 times that day. Finally, on Erev Shabbos, I listen to the week's 7 Daf another 4 times on double speed, which takes about an hour. Thus, each week I'm attempting to do the Daf 14 times. Last night I started this new thing that on the 8-minute Daf, I say an email or something. I'll do a synopsis. I can't read this whole email. It'll take 8 minutes, just this email. So I started saying I said the email, I started saying the Daf all of a sudden, because I record in a parking lot, in my parking spot. But the plumbing of the building goes right through that spot. So smack in the middle, all of a sudden, toilet. So I stop, I redo it. I realize now, as I'm coming in, I probably read this email 14 times. The only email I've ever read that many times. On Shabbos, I then try to do chazar in the previous davim. I am truly thankful to Rabbi Stefansky for giving over the daf in such a clear way that I'm able to gain so. That's why I can read it. I know this thing about peh. Gain so much just by listening to the 8-minute daf. On last night when I said the email, because I could say some I taking it, but over here I'm reading the whole thing, and I took out that one word at the end, alone. In other words, he only does the 8-minute daf. He doesn't do the whole shir. Michael Lechoil, Yossi Orkin, South Africa, Givaldik. This is from David Meshulam Weiss. David Meshulam Weiss sounds Hasidish to me, maybe not, but he's from Monsey, New York. But it's all good. We have a lot of Hasidim, a lot of all sorts of people. It's Givaldik. First of all, a belated Mazel Tov on your grandson. Maybe you have much nachas from him. My name is David Meshulam Weiss. I live in Monsey, New York, and listen to the 8-minute Daf Shir. This is my first real-time learning Daf Yomi. My highest compliments to you on this wonderful shir that you share with me and thousands of others daily. It really enhances my learning. It's an excellent review of the Daf. I'm sure that it's not an easy task to summarize the whole Daf in 8 minutes. May Hashem grant much bracha and atzlacha. David Meshulam Weiss. Zok the Heilige Gemara. Today's shir sponsored Refuah Shlema of Perel Bas Brocha, and regards to the Kamiansky clan. Okay, Perel Bas Brocha should have Refuah Shlema. Real quickly, this one, I wanted to get to this. It took me from Shoal Perlstein. He wrote me 2 different messages. Hi Rebelli, we're here in Brooklyn. We really enjoy your shir. We would like to ask you, when you turn the daf, if you can please say, we are turning the daf. And in his other one, he writes, turning the page is secular, sounds secular. Rather than saying turning the page because we are learning the daf, not stam a page, we thank you, keep up the good work. Well, the daf is a whole daf. It's 2 amudim. So I can't say we're turning the daf. That's not going to work. In Hebrew, lafoch the daf, it works, but in what? So turn the amud. I think so you guys agree with him? It's secular. I have to give in to every single bakasha, don't say this. I told you, I can't even make fun of my wife anymore. It's noira va'ayim. What's going on here? Yes. Exactly. If I listen to everything they say, I would have a beard. I'd be on vacation right now. Last night somebody said, you have to go on vacation. The kids can't listen to everything they say.
The beard is a common too. I've actually joked a couple times when people...
Oh, here's Avi Mandelbaum. How did he get on? I just hear the voice. Yeah, what do you say? You joked? You see, that's why people are saying that's secular. They probably watch your chat, and that's what they said. Okay, that's the guy in Zoom, Avi Mandelbaum. Where do you live again? I forgot where he lives. Over there, north. Where? Moreshet. There you go. Zog De'ele Gemara. We're holding 17 lines from the bottom, and even the way I learn. Like, I got a comment that I did a terrible, terrible job on time management, although we did start so I try to redo it, and I challenged that person who said that I did a terrible job on time management, $500 if you could do it quicker and better. There you go. I tried it last night. I tried to do it better, and I actually did. Yeah, Menachem could do it, but without explaining, without pictures, without talking to Yirmi Gold. He asked 17 questions last night. Yishkoyach. Zog the Gemara. Huh? Okay, you understand. Itmar, where are we? All the way up there somewhere. Itmar, 17 lines up. So what do we have? We had a question like this. We had a situation, if a person takes something and throws it from Rishus Hayachad into Rishus Harabim, the Gemara wanted to say that according to Rabbi Yehuda, Chayiv two chatois. One, because it arrived in Rishus Harabim, and once it arrived in, that's called a Hitzah, Rishus Hayachad to Rishus Harabim, and then once it arrived in Rishus Harabim and went another 4 amas, that's called Ha'avara. And the Gemara said, according to Rabbi Yehuda, perhaps, maybe, as it arrived in Rishus Harabim, it was Kluta, it halachically rested there, and then it continued on. Itmar, Nami, Rabbi Rav Yosef Damar Tarvayu, Loichir Rabbi Yehuda Elachas. So we have Rabbi Rav Yosef, and that was basically how the Gemara's understanding was. No. It can't be that Rabbi Yehuda said, Yechayiv two chatois. One is a Av, Hoitzah, one is a Tolda, Hachnasa. You shouldn't be Chayiv two chatois on an Av and a Tolda. Rather, Rabbi Yehuda says, Yechayiv one. So, if Rabbi Yehuda says Yechayiv one, the ones who argue on Rabbi Yehuda, the Rabbanon, what do they hold? Yechayiv? None. How can you be Chayiv? Nothing. If I threw something from Rishus Hayachad to Rishus Harabim, says the Gemara, because he didn't have the right intent. His intent didn't happen. It wasn't a Melech Machshavas. He wanted it to go to the beginning of Rishus Harabim, and it kept on going. Potter. And we're going to see that halacha soon. No. You're only Chayiv one, and Rabbanan say nothing. Now, this is a very interesting lashon in the Gemara. You have it sometimes in Shas, but very rarely. I need to understand your Havamina. I know it's not a Havamina. I know we're not going to go with it, but let's just understand what you're talking about. How is it possible that a person is Chayiv two korbanos? Why? If the person's intent was, the person that threw it, his intent was that it should land right there in the beginning of Rishus Harabim, like a bayla. So he never wanted it to travel another 4 amas. And if he wanted it to end up 4 amas into Rishus Harabim, like a bayla. So he certainly didn't want it to end up in the beginning of Rishus Harabim. So how could a person be chayiv on 2 karbanas for 2 distances in the same throw? Yes, it has to be a very specific case where a person says specifically, wherever it lands, I'm happy. So, landing number 1 happened when? When it traveled right over the border, it crossed the border, and that is landing halachically because of kluta. It's as if it landed, and then it traveled further, 4 amas, and then it really came to a true rest, and that he's chayiv a second time. Wow. Rabbi, so what's going on here? Friday, only 82 people on Zoom. Numbers are dropping because we have a lot of people here, but it's not. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, we do have some people that are usually on Zoom here, but not 40. It's your achrayis to get the numbers back up. Is it my achrayis? It's your achrayis, Dr. Levitin. It's not a, you want to be mechazik Torah. What are you laughing about? Chizuk Torah, getting other people involved. Get your brother, no? Pshita, Zakti Gemara, Pshita. Listen to this. This is also very interesting. I don't remember so many times that it does this. Pshita. This is so pashut that, in fact, the Gemara in 2 minutes is going to say it's not pashut. Pshita, Niskav, Lizrik, Shmoyne, V'Zarik, Arba. If somebody is throwing a baseball, he's trying to go from the pitcher's mound to the catcher. He's trying to throw it 8, Vizarak Arba, and it went half the distance. Hareze Kosav Shem Shimon. L'chayra, that's the same halacha as if somebody tried to write a full name, Shimon, Shin Mem Ayin Vav Nun, and he ended up only writing the first 2 letters, Shin Mem. Now, in order to be over on writing on Shabbos, all you need to do is 2 letters. He's chayev. Why? Because in order to get to the end of Shim Ayin, you have to go through the beginning of Shimon, Shin Mem. So he did a partial malach, and that's enough. So too, in order to get to 8 amos, you have to go through 4 amos. Nu, is there a difference logically? Could you think about a difference between writing and throwing? The Gemara says a beautiful difference. Okay, if you can't think of it, we'll just have to get to the Gemara.
Writing, you have more control. Throwing, you don't necessarily have control.
But I have to get there. In order to get to 8 amos, I have to go through 4. Says the Gemara, what about if he tried to throw it 4 amos and he didn't realize how strong he is and it went double the distance? Is that the same thing? At the end of the day, it traveled 4 amos. That was his intent. And it traveled even more to 8 amos. He wanted it to land in a certain place. It never landed there. Now what is he going to have to do? He's going to have to chase his ball 8 amos and take it all the way back 4 amos. He didn't accomplish anything by the throw, therefore he should be potter. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. We just said a second ago. In order to explain the other sugya, we had to say that the guy said specifically with his mouth, anywhere it lands, that's where I want it to land. And if he doesn't say that, he's potter. Yeah. If he doesn't say specifically, wherever it lands, it should land, he's potter. Why? Because you need meleches machshavas. It has to be exactly how he said it, how he thought it. So, therefore what? The Gemara says straight out. If I intended to throw a ball 4 amos and it went 8 amos, potter. And if I intended to throw it 8 amos and it went 4 amos, potter. Both directions, potter. Why? Because lois avid machshavtoi. His intent never happened. Whatever his intent was, 4 and it went 8, or 8 and it went 4. Oh, the Ka'amras because of Shem Shimon. You brought me a raya from somebody who wrote 2 letters out of the 5. Midami. There's no comparison. Hasam kamadali kosav Shem loy michtale Shimon. Listen to this beautiful nafkamina. That's what Gemara is all about. Finding the differences in the small chilukim dakim. When you're writing a name, Shimon, the only way to get to the end of the name is writing Shin Mem in the beginning. That's the only way to get to Nun. You have to write Shin Mem Ayin Vav Nun. Right, Shimon? You've done it a bunch of times, I'm assuming. Shin Mem. However, in order to get to 8 amos, you don't have to throw it 4 amos. You could do a direct flight to 8 amos. You don't have to land at 4 amos and go from there another 4 amos. This landing at 4 amos was not necessary for you. But to write Shin Mem was necessary to get the Shemain. Okay, I don't have to throw it 4 in order to get to 8. We have a case. If a person threw something 2 amos in Rishus HaRabim, and then it traveled through the Rishus HaYachid, and it went into the second Rishus HaRabim and traveled another 2 amos, for a total of how many? 4 amos, but they were done in 2 Rishus HaRabims. Like on the M62 in England, like we had yesterday. You have a Rishus HaRabim, a beautiful house in a garden, and then another Rishus HaRabim. But only 2 amos in one Rishus HaRabim, 2 amos in the second Rishus HaRabim, and it traveled over the Rishus HaYachid. And as like Leiby pointed out, it has to go through the house of the Rishus HaYachid, not on top of the house. Rishus HaYachid b'emtza, Dalet amos, in total Dalet amos chayav. Pachas marba amos potter. Ma'ika mashmal. What's the big chiddush? Haka mashmal. Rishuy is mitzdarfus. I can take 2 amos from here, 2 amos from here, from the 38 and the 10, the kfish achad and whatever you want to call it, and put them together and the mitzdarif. Not like we had, as Rashi points out, Rabbi Yossi, who says that if you take a chatzir gergeres and take it out into this rishus, and a chatzir gergeres and take it out into this rishus, they're not mitzdarif. Over here, this man the Omer says you could be mitzaref two different rishuyos. Now, I would say perhaps I should be chayiv for something else. I went from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. Yes, I went from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. You're focusing, did I move this object 4 amas in Rishus HaRabim? But there's another problem here. What about the fact I went from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid? The answer is it never landed in Rishus HaYachid. But it did land in Rishus HaYachid. Kluta. Halachically landed. Oh, this man Dama holds, you don't say Kluta. And now we have a beautiful sugya about the Mishkan. And how the Mishkan looked and how they built it. A ton of pictures here. Geshmaka stuff. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda Amar Rav Abba. It's very easy. It's a very easy sugya, just a lot of pictures. So if you have a lot of pictures in your art scroll, don't get nervous. It's just easy pictures. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Hamavir Dalit Amis B'Shus Rabbi Mekoira Potter. If you transfer an object 4 amas in a Rishus HaRabim that has a ceiling, it has a rooftop, I don't know, like a big stadium maybe, like a Met Stadium, right? It could hold 100,000 people, but and has a roof. That actually doesn't have a roof, right? Because they said people were freezing there. What? It's still not. It's not 600, but according to some Rishonim, yeah. That's a smaller thing. Fine. Anyway, let's say a bridge. Okay, let's say a bridge over the highway. Mikura, maybe that's. Midbar. In the midbar, they never had this kind of roof. Therefore, you are potter if you transfer it 4 amas. Ask the Gemara, Eini va'agala is the makaris avyon. What about the 4 wagons that we discussed the other day that the Levim would take to crush him, that they built the Mishkan with, the beams, and put it on these wagons, and these wagons had a roof. Why? Because the wood on the wagons, the wood that sat on the wagons, made a rooftop. It was very wide. It's 10 amas wide, these beams. No, between everything. There was no distance. We're going to go into all the details now. How they sat and where they sat and how it was. Agalois, says the Gemara, Agalois Mekaris Avian, V'amarav, Mishum Rebechia, Agalois Tachteyen, Ubeineyen, Vitzideyen. So, I think I printed that one out. Maybe that one I didn't at the end. Let's see. It's for the most part in order. Let me just make sure. Maybe I missed that one. Okay. Yeah. I think I missed that one. Great. So, Tachteyen, underneath the wagons, Ubeineyen, between the wagons, Vitzideyan, meaning there was an amma and a quarter that the wheels of the wagon stuck out, all through that. Says the Gemara, perhaps that should be a Rishus HaRabim. Gemara says it's considered Rishus HaRabim. So, what's going on here? You have these beams that are an amma by 1.5 amma. And if you're going to put these beams on a wagon, typically we're going to start from the easiest way. You're going to put it on the widest part of the beam. You don't want the beams to fall off. You're traveling through the desert, so you want to stack up the beams in a way that they're not going to fall. So the best way to do that, now your wagon is 5 amas long, and your beam is 1.5 amas wide. So how many beams could fit on 5 amas? 3. 3 times 1.5 is 4.5. That's all you could fit, is 3 rows of beams. Now, the length of these beams, 10 amas, is on the width of this wagon, which is 2.5 amas. The wagon is 5 amas long and 2.5 wide. So you have it like this. Now, says the Gemara, the problem is that where exactly is Rishus HaRabim? Look how much this takes up. It takes up everywhere. There's no Rishus HaRabim. If I'm underneath this wagon, I am underneath a complete roof. What? Yeah, but it's traveling over Rishus HaRabim. Yeah. So now, do I have a roof or not? We have to figure out, do I have a rooftop in the midbar? The Gemara says there's no rooftop in Rosh Hashanah. There was. Look, here's a roof. Says the Gemara, there wasn't a roof. Bidarasa. Because in between these beams, there's a gap. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. This wagon is 5 amas long by 2.5 amas wide. Pussy the keresh kamahavi amso palga. We laid down these beams 1.5 amas wide. They could also go sideways 1 amma. That's the next pshat in the Gemara, but that would tip over easier. So we're going to go with the easy way. 1.5 amas wide. Kama moisav. How many could he fit on a 5 amma bed? Tlasa. You can only fit 3 rows times 1.5, which equals 4.5. So how much do we have left over? A half amma. How many gaps do we have when we have 3 rows? 2 gaps. So you have to take a half amma and divide it between the 2 gaps. That's 1/4 of an amma per gap, which means 1.5 tfachim per gap. What do we say anytime we have something that's less than 3 tfachim? Lavud. So therefore, this is considered completely covered. Now all you're left for the gaps is a half amma, which is 1/4 amma per gap, which means 1.5 tefach per gap. And if you're going to put 1.5 tefach between the different stacks of krushim, kilavadami, nothing going on. We have a complete roof. Says the Gemara, Misaris krushim apusayu have manachlu. He must hold that the krushim weren't laying in this fashion on the 1.5 amma. They were laying on the 1 amma. Okay, we'll do the cheshbon now. Achudan manachlu. Says the Gemara, well, achudan manachlu. Then, okay, no picture for that. Too many pictures today. But what's going to happen? If you're going to put it on its side, on the 1 amma, how many krushim can you fit in a 5 amma wagon? You can't say 5, says Rashi, because some of these have rings and things like that, so you can't push them tight against each other. So the most, and also it'll stick out, says Rashi, even if there were no rings, to push 5 totally together, they'll stick out a little bit over the edges. We don't want that. So how many piles of krushim could you put in a 5 amma wagon if they're only 1 amma distance? 4. How many gaps are we going to have if you have 4 piles? 3 gaps. How much is each gap? If we have 1 amma left over, 4 piles, it should have been 5, it's 5 ammas. No, not the same thing. 2 ammas. You have 3 gaps and an amma left over. Now you have an amma left over. Before you only had a half amma left over. So now you have a whole amma left over. You have to divide an amma by 3 gaps, which is 2 tefachim, because each amma is 6 tefachim. Again, lavud. Doesn't work. Sumcha the keresh kama hava amso. Okay, so it's 1 amma wide. Kama hava moisif. How many of these piles can you put? Arba. Only 4. Pashala amso. So now you're left over with a gap of 1 amma. Kishadele, and when you want to divide that gap of 1 amma, mar beini leveni, between the 3 gaps, kilavadami, because you only have 2 tefachim, and that is lavud. Says the Gemara, Hani chalamanda amar kroshim milamaton ovyan amo milamalon kolin voyilchim ad keetzba. Okay, machloikis, and we're going to discuss this. If the keresh is square, or not square, rectangle, but it's the same size on the bottom as it is on top, it's 1 amma over here, and it's 1 amma over here. 1 amma and 1 amma. Great. But there's a mandama that says that the keresh, it was straight on this side. It's not, could you tell in the picture? This is really straight, but it goes in on an angle over here. I made one for later, here, like this. See? It's straight over here, but on an angle over here. So if that's how the krushim worked, and they just lined up like this, so from the outside, it looked like this. It looked like it was on an angle, but on the inside, it's nice and flat. I tried to do it like this, but I didn't think it was working well like this. I don't know, could you tell? Does it look like anything? It looks very flat. Okay. I don't know, but this is the only way I understand it. I need visual, my friend. So, if it comes to a point on the top, so I have another way of doing it. Check it out. These are from the Pirush Chai so far. This one, right over here, is from this amazing sefer. Oitzer Mishkan has all the drawings and everything. Very nice computerized stuff. I got permission from him as well. I mean, I can't believe every single person that I called up, besides one company, makes me say stuff. But we got permission from everybody. This guy, like in 10 seconds, yes, sure, no problem. Take it, use it for Torah, no problem. I don't know how much money this guy invested. You imagine, it's all computerized and everything. So, I asked the Gemara, this Pirush Chai sending it out, no problem. I asked him, Rishos, no problem. So if they come to a point, not like this picture. I don't like this picture because it looks like it literally from both sides is going like this, right? Oh, no, sorry, the top, he's right. The top is flat. It's this that goes on angle. Fine, let me show you. The point is, from here to here, you have a nice, serious gap. Taisus asks, perhaps you put them one like this, one way, and there's no gap. You can add another one going this way. Fine. Says Gemara, over here it's the amma, but eventually it becomes a finger wide. Okay, I have a Rishus Rabbim. I have a place that he could sneak in over here underneath. But if they are the same size throughout, Michael and Meimar, what's going on here? The whole thing is full. The whole area is full, like we just showed over here in these pictures. Everything is full. It's a complete rooftop. You're telling me there's no roof? There is a roof. Here. There's a little gap. This is lavud. Now you have a roof. Now, if you did it like this, no roof, because there's big gaps here. First of all, atbe, just the word atbe means a clothespin. This type of clothespin. In other words, very tight together. It's just a little bit of a slit between the wood. And what does that mean for us? It means for us that he stacked them so. This makes a lot of sense, Rashi says, because you're talking about amma wide, and you start piling them up, they could start flipping over. So what you do is you push them together. Now you can't push all of them together like we explained before because you have the tabais. But you can put two piles together. So here you have two piles that make one pile, and then another pile, because we have 4 beams. We said we could get 4 into an area of 5 amas. So instead of making 3 gaps, make 1 gap. And it makes more sense to do it like that because now it's tighter and sturdier. It's not going to flip over. Yeah? Oh, very nice. You taking that off the OneDrive? Yeah. Gewaldig. See what I'm saying? You're not taking it off what I'm showing, you're just taking it off the computer. Beautiful. Here, let me show the island what it looks like for a second. You see, so there's a screen over there, and in front of the base marriage, it shows the picture. Come one, come all, especially at night. There's plenty of room this year. All right. Now, what it's saying over here, that between these 2 pieces of wood, there's hardly a distance. They're tight together like a clothespin. And there's 2 rows of them. Now you have a massive gap of an amma. An amma, there's no lavud on an amma. Amma is 6 tefachim, not 3 tefachim. No, so it's not a problem. Before the Gemara says there's no roof in the Mishkan, there's no roof at all. So we said, but there is a roof. If you make these, but now there's no roof. Because now between them there's no roof. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, still, perhaps there's a roof. Why? Because what about the bed of the truck, of the agala, of the wagon? Isn't that a roof? Turn the page. Guy. I'm such a guy. I'm mamish. It does?
No, it does
Machlokes, we have machlokes. The guy in the blue polo shirt says it sounds goyish. The guy in the white shirt and the black jacket says it's perfectly right. So we have machlokes between the modernish Yidden and the yeshivish guys. The modernish guy says it's 100% osir. It sounds secular. The yeshivish guy says it's 100% mutter. Kitzer, it depends where you're from and how you dress. We're going to, okay, now, great. So now I'm going to have this subconscious thought every time I say the page, the amud, the daf. Shkoyach, what's his name? Shol Perlstein, something.
Turn the folio.
What's the guy's name? Shol Perlstein from Borough Park, from Brooklyn. Gewaldig. Tzach. All right, Omar Shmuel b'Yiseidos. Guess what? This wagon didn't have a bed. It had an outline of a bed. It had beams all around, but it didn't have a bottom. They just put the crushim on top of these beams. It was like a nice square, a hollow square. A frame, very good, a frame, thank you. Where are these Israelis when I need them? Guy's born in Israel, speaks a better English than me. Givaldik. Omar Shmuel b'Yiseidos. Ton Rabbanon, Krushim milamaton of Yanama. So now we're going back to this machlokes. What's going on here? Down below, everybody agrees that they were 1 amma wide. He just has another shita that it starts becoming narrow at like the midpoint. It's amma, and then all of a sudden it takes a nice sharp turn. Versus the conventional, I think this is how Rashi learns that it just starts going on a gradual incline, or no, that's not a good word, but whatever the word is. So now, what's the machlokes? The first Man Omer says, "Kroshim melamatim ovin amo umelamalim kolin v'holchin ad ke'etzba." They become a finger on the top. Shenemar, you samim al roishoy. It should finish tam. Now, what does tam mean? Ulalon oimer. Later on, it says tamu nichrusu. It finishes, ends, done, like chorus, done. So at the end, it should be a 0. It should go to a finger. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Reb Nechemia oimer keshem shelam maton ovyan amo kach milamalon ovyan amo. They're very consistent. They don't change shape at all. They start at an amma, and on top they're an amma. Shenemar yachdov. They should be together, the same. V'oksiv tamim. What's Reb Nechemia going to do with Rabbi Yehuda's lashon tamim? It should finish. Ahu the leisu shleimim v'lo leisu denisra. You should bring a whole piece of wood. My pergola have beautiful beams, 7 inches by 7 inches. And if you look at them carefully, there's a finger joint smack in the middle of each one. They take these pieces of wood and they go like this. And they put glue, and that joint is even stronger than the actual wood. If you were to take it and bang it on a piece of metal, another piece would break, not that joint, right? The joint is very... In the Beis HaMikdash, we don't do joints. We need a solid piece of wood. Tam. Says the Gemara, V'idach, don't start doing joinery here. By the way, all these pieces of furniture, they're all joined with different stuff. Fine. Next, V'idach nami oksiv yachdov. It's a good kasha. It says yachdov. It should finish like the bottom. The bottom is an amma. Top should be an amma. No. Ahu deloy shalchafunhu mahadadi. In other words, look how beautiful in this picture, the computer-generated picture. It's a beautiful straight wall. You don't want any beams coming in, out. It has to be perfectly straight. Yachtov. It should be unison. What's the word? Uniform. Who said that? You? Uniform. You did too. Uniform. It should be very uniform. Yachtov. Fine. Now, according to this, great. I can understand that it says, Mishkan Yama, on the western side of the Mishkan, right over here, this side, Tasis Shisha Krushim. You have 6 Krushim. How much is 6 times 1.5? 9. Yeah. Over here, this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this takes up 9. How wide was this? 10. So we need another 2 pieces on the corners to fill in the gap. Half am on each side plus the corner. Ushnei kroshim ta'aselim kutzois. So you do another 2 additional pieces of wood in the corners. The ossi pusya dahane memalile lusumcha dahane. The corners fill in that half amma gap. So everything's great. Look at this picture. It looks wonderful. You have a corner piece, fits right in. You have a nice corner. From the inside, there's no gaps. From the outside, there's no gaps. Everything is beautiful. What is the problem? The problem is if you're going on an angle. Ask the Gemara. I hope you can understand from this. Here's your wall. And here's another wall. Look what happens. Time out like this. Goes like this. You see? You have, because it's on an angle, you have this whole piece sticking out. It looks terrible from the outside. On the inside, you won't notice it. It looks nice and flat. But on the outside, you have this gap. Could you see the gap here? Yeah? I should have painted this, maybe a different color. You have a gap. So what does the Gemara say? You chop this gap off. You just cut it down nicely. I have a picture from the art scroll and from the Masifta. A joint effort. Here's the art scroll. It's an interesting piece that's cut on a funny angle and fits right into the corner. And here's a piece by the Masifta right over here, and it shows you how he cut the wood for that corner so that it fits in. Okay? It fits in. At the end of the day, it'll fit. We'll make it fit. I was going to ask my son, I bought him this 3D printer with this Masechta in mind, that he can make me these 3D prints, and that's what I wanted. After I realized it takes like 18 hours to print something, and many hours for him to figure it out, I was like, forget, I didn't even ask him. What? No. The print itself takes many, many hours, overnight.
He wants the print.
Oh, Gary, we have to buy a boom mic, a new computer, and now a printer from Mordechai Seltzer. Every day it's a Naya Mais with him. Givaldik. And then a car. We'll get you a car. That's on Sunday. Zok the Gemara. Mordechai, stick to Baba Kama. One goes in, one goes out, and now you have some sort of gap there. This Shafalu Ketur, you make it like a mountain. Nice. All sides are cut in a perfect angle like this. You see this piece of wood? It's one of a kind. Starts out narrow here, becomes wider, goes narrow. Givaldik. Says the Gemara, Tana, B'neis haya oimed. Okay. How did all these pieces of wood come together? They had these metal, these gold things on the outside that went around and grabbed the wood. In each one had like a ring, and there was a metal piece in the ring. But there was one, says the Gemara, look how beautiful this guy did, Oitzar Mishkan. He lighted it up, LEDs inside he lit it up with LEDs, lit it up. He lit it up, ki'ilu, like you could see, like there's a nice acrylic panel here, so you could see through. If you could see through, you'd see that there's a piece of metal that goes through and through. It's 70 amas long. Now, how do you take a piece of metal and snake it through, starting over here, and turn this corner? How could metal turn a corner? B'neis, it went in b'neis. That was the only way to explain it. According to Rashi, that it's on the inside of the panel. There's a hole drilled right through all the panels, and it took a nice turn, and another turn all the way around. That's a nace. Oh, you got it up there already. Beautiful. Now we're still continuing with this thing. Was the wood flat on top, or was it on an angle? What's the difference? Huge difference. On top of the Mishkan, we have something called yiriyos. These are panels, cloth panels, made out of different materials. This one is called the Mishkan. There's 3 layers. Remember we spoke about the Tachash? this beautiful color, this blue, came from a funny animal like a lion, tiger, leopard with a beautiful color thing. That's right over here, together with the red over here. We're not going to discuss them today. We're going to discuss these two layers. These are very long pieces of fabric made out of argamon and this whole thing, right? Tcheles, argamon, telashani, v'sheish, the whole pasuk. Now, says the Gemara, we have to understand how this fit. Did it drape over all the way to the floor? Did it hang? In a big nafkamina? Because, check this out. If you're looking over here at a top view, this is 10 amas. But if you're going to include the top of the wall, that includes another 2 amas. So now that takes away from your drapery. Now, if you're like Rabbi Yehuda, that this doesn't take up any room at all because it was an etzba, so now you just saved 2 amas. So now the fabric could go longer down to the floor. Says the Gemara, Beis HaMishkan says, it's 28 amas long. 28 amas is a big problem. Why? Because if your walls are 10 amas tall, that's 20 amas right there, and 10 amas for the roof, that's 30 amas. Even if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that the walls don't take up any room, and your fabric is only 28 amas. So it's not going to get to the floor anyways. You're going to be missing an amma from each side. Shadir Kayu, take this 28, the length, 28 amas by 4 amas, because these pieces of fabric are made 4 amas wide. We even had it the other day that the loom was 4 amas wide. We want to say that it was 4, he threw it 4 amas, right? Because of these pieces. Shadir Kayu pusi the Mishkan, Kama Havia, Eser Vitamia, 28 amas long. Dal Eser Ligra, 10 amas for the roof. Pashalu Tisha Lahai Gisa, V'Tisha Lahai Gisa. Now, if you take off 10 amas from a 28 amma piece of fabric, you're left with 18. 9 amas for each side. But the wall is 10 amas tall. L'Rebbe Yehuda, Migalia Amad Adonim. Yes, you're right. So it's going to expose. Here's the krushim. They fit into this Adonim thing. Sockets, like a plug, literally like a plug. Poof. So according to Rebbe Yehuda, all you're going to see is this receptacle, socket, frankincense, on the bottom. It's 1 amma high, that's all you see. So it's interesting. The whole wood is covered besides the receptacle. Yeah. Weiter, but the roof, the wall itself takes up an amma on each side. So now you're missing another 2 ammas. Megalia amma the krushim. So then your piece of fabric only goes, and here's a nice picture from the Art Scroll, the Heritage Foundation. Here's the thing, it only goes up to here according to Rabbi Yehuda, and according to Rabbi Nechemia, it only ends up over here. There's a whole amma worth of wood that's going to be exposed. Shali b'sayil l'orkon l'mishkan. Says the Gemara, Kama havyon arbain. There were 10 sheets times 4 amas each, 40 amas. Now let's go to the other direction. We have to go to this direction. It had a cover from here to here. How long is this? 30 amas. 20 krushim times 1.5 amma, 30 amas. Plus 10 amas, 40. Says the Gemara, Kama havya arbaim. Shadi pusay lor to the Mishkan, go to the length. Kama havya arbaim, 40 amas. Dal tlasen ligra, 30 goes away for the roof. Pashalu asara, you're left with 10. Rabbi Yehuda Makasya Amad Adonim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that this doesn't take up any room, it's a finger length. So now you have 10 amas, it goes all the way down to the floor on this side. However, according to Rabbi Nechemia, Migali Amad Adonim, you are going to expose 1 amma of the bottom Adonim. You get that, right? You know what the Adonim are, I don't have to show you again. Here. According to Rabbi Nechemia, this will be exposed. Weiter. Now let's go to the next piece of fabric. The one right above it. Wow, this is getting complicated. Here. Now we're holding on this grayish looking guy. This guy is 2 amas longer than the first one, than the Mishkan one. It's called Mishkan because it covers the Mishkan. So if you have 2 extra amas, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's going to reach the floor, and according to Rabbi Nechemia, it will be like Rabbi Yehuda's other shita, it will be 1 amma off the floor because you have extra 2 amas. You're going to make 11 sections. Each one is 4 amas. Total of 44 amas. And it's 30 amas, 4 by 30, times 11, 44. Shadi or kaila pusi, the Mishkan have it lesson. Dal eser leigra, take off 10 for the roof. Pashlu eser lahigisa va'aser lahigisa 10 and 10. L'rei the mechasig adonim amad adonim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, since you have 10 amas, 20 amas left over, and the wall is 20 amas, 10 and 10, it goes all the way to the floor. L'rei Nechemia, since the actual wall takes up an amma on the top, now we're missing 2 amas. Migal yamad adonim. The adonim are going to be exposed. The extra. What's that extra? To cover, in this case, unlike the first piece of fabric that according to Rabbi Yehuda does not cover the adonim, the red doesn't, but the gray does. What does ba'idef mean? Unlike what I say, Reb Nechemia, that a whole full am of wood is exposed, it's not exposed. Shadi B'Sai L'Urge the Mishkan. Now let's go to the length of the Mishkan. Kama Havya, Mem V'Arba, 44 long, right? 11 sections times 4, 44 long. And I want to cover the entire length of the Mishkan. How much is the length of the Mishkan? 30. So how much do I have left over? 14. Dal Tlasan Ligro. Take off 30 for the roof. Pashulu Arbesrei. You're left with 14. Dal Tarte Kafla. Kafla is this. Rabbi Isai. We need a picture for it. The front of the Mishkan, there was a kafla. It came down 2 amas right here. Like a little. No, not an awning, not a lid, like a doorway, like a whatever. A mashkov, sort of. You see, it comes down. It gives you a nice little, whatever. You know it's a doorway. Says the Gemara, take off 2. So 2 minus 14, Rabbi says how much? Or 14 minus 2, 12. It says in the pasuk you should do this kafalta, this kafla. You left with 12. There's a half a panel. How much is a half a panel? 2. Each panel is 4 amas. Half a panel is 2. So if you have 2 extra, 10 for the wall, but tisrach, it drags like a kal's gown on the floor, another 2 amas. Great. Eller Ibn Nechemia, my tisrach, what does it mean? According to him, you're not going to have a half a panel worth. You'll have 1 amma maybe, but not 2 amas. Tisrach mechaver yisrael. It is further down, 2 amas, further than its friends that are 1 amma above the wood, which is 2 amas above the floor. And now this goes all the way down to the floor, no?
On that side, it's only 1 amma.
One amma high, so it's 2 amas past what everybody else is. That side is 1 amma above. What?
Going from the family of the back, it's only 1 amma on. Only the Adonim are covered.
Only the Adonim are uncovered. Yeah, we got to finish. It's similar to Mishkan. In those days, when we would walk with their dresses pulling behind them, their trains, the train would drag by. So the Mishkan also had either a 1 amma train, a 2 amma train, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Have a wonderful Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, 9:30. Nachum, get ready. 9:30 Motzei Shabbos. No shir tonight. I'll see you Motzei Shabbos Be'ez Hashem, and on Sunday 7:15, as usual. Nachman Dillam. Yeah. Who writes like that? People write like that? Yeah, you're also chayiv. You should be chayiv because it's part of the word. It helps you finish the word. Listen to him. Kimchas dicho leman tivorei. Kizad le'guf salam shil. Shlad inay mishum laboy kishum laboy. כן של אדוני גמלני אחוז רבים. With this is Roy, we call up in his soul, I can go with this one as soon as